All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining the free webinar on fundraising and philanthropy. I'm Robin Liepman, you all know me, and I'm just gonna be sharing today what I've learned from my fundraising efforts, and most of it has been grassroots. I've of course learned different tips from people that have been doing it for a while, but I haven't really done a lot of formal training. I just kind of jumped into it, and I started out doing some fundraising for my own personal projects like music projects, and even for going to a retreat, this one called Generation Waking Up, which was we learned how to be facilitators of this program called the Wake Up Experience, where we basically we showed everyone this whole slideshow with videos of all the challenges going on in the world with climate change and poverty and just all the different big global challenges, and then the solutions. And we gave this whole presentation on like what's wrong with the world and how can we be part of the solution, and action steps. And so I fundraised to do that training. I fundraised for my first album, which is called Earth Child. And then in the last couple of years, I've started fundraising for philanthropy projects because I started getting some outreach from first from Prince Sebe Maloba in Uganda, because he saw me posting in permaculture groups, because I was doing a big permaculture tour in 2015 called Blooming Biodiversity. And so I was posting in all the different permaculture groups I could find. And then because of the international permaculture convergence that happens in a different country each year around the world, one of them had happened in Uganda. So Prince Sebe Maloba had been part of the international permaculture convergence in Uganda. He saw me posting in there, and then he started reaching out to me and sending me pictures of the kids and just their situation there, saying they didn't have access to clean drinking water, and they were trying to grow food, but they had to walk long distances with buckets to get water. And a lot of the times it was really dangerous for people to go walk there because of just their situation in Uganda at the time. So I fundraised for them to be able to install water systems, water pipes, and just water systems so that they could have water for drinking, bathing, hygiene, and for their gardens. And then I fundraised for farming tools and for seeds, and was able to fundraise enough to get their farms and gardens started, and then for them to get kids to go to school. And then once COVID hit, I was fundraising for COVID hygiene, and that's the water and the food sovereignty became extra important at that time. And in that process, I was literally just posting the pictures and videos that they sent me. I would ask them to send me more pictures and videos so that I'd have more content to post, and then I would describe the situation. I would ask them to describe the situation, and then I'd kind of put some of my own words at the beginning, and then just started putting it out there, and people were touched by that, started donating, and I started sending it to them. And then where the trust came in was seeing the pictures and videos come back of all the food that was being grown and the water systems being installed, and the kids at school, and basically pictures and videos showing proof and evidence that the funds were being sent and being used for what they were being asked for. So I kept fundraising there, and then I started getting outreach from David and David Uluisi in Uganda. And at first, I felt like I was kind of at capacity with fundraising, but he kept messaging, was really friendly, kind of told me a situation that he was an orphan, needed funds to go to school. So I decided to make a couple posts. I fundraised, it was $100 a quarter for him, or a trimester. And so I fundraised for him to go to school for a year. And then once he got there, he sent the pictures, and then I knew the funds were being used for him to go to school. And he told me that they weren't really having much nutritious food there. It was pretty much one kind of like staple thing they were eating for every meal. So I suggested that he asks his principal if he can start a garden there. At first, he was skeptical about it, but he talked to the principal, and the principal seemed really excited about the idea. So I fundraised a little bit for him to get a garden started, which he did. And then the principal was so excited about that he said, oh, all this land over here you can use for farming and gardening and raising animals and whatever it is that you want to do. And so So that's exciting. And for me as a permaculture person, it's really important to me. I don't like to impose on how people are doing things, but it is important to me to at least suggest that there's ways to grow food without pesticides. So when I was asked to fundraise for chemical spray, that didn't feel like something I wanted to fundraise for. So what I did was I said, well, I know someone that goes to Uganda that does permaculture that can teach you how to grow food without needing chemicals. And this is a guy, this is Prince Sebe Maloba. So he's from Kenya and Uganda. He works in both Kenya and Uganda. And so I connected them, and hopefully soon they'll get to meet up to be able to learn about organic farming and gardening that can be applied to that school for feeding all the kids there. And then I also got contacted by Biakwaso, and it is really important to be cautious because anyone can reach out for fundraising and anyone can take pictures with kids and say, oh, I need funds for the kids. But it's all about having the conversation, getting the pictures and the videos, and ideally also getting in touch with other people that have done past fundraising. So what I did in this situation was I actually contacted people that have done fundraising in the past for Biakwaso, and found out their level of trust and their level of like past working and seeing how the funds have actually gone to what he says they're going to. And one of the people I talked to actually does missionary work in Uganda and is going to be going to visit in person and get to have that in-person contact. So for me, people have asked me, oh, have you been to Uganda or to Kenya? And my answer is no. Like I could use those funds for just fundraising. And also I have so much going on in my life already, but I can link up with someone that is in Uganda that can go and kind of check up on the situation and build those kinds of relationships. So that's really where the networking comes in. Like we don't have to do everything all by ourselves. We can connect with people that are already doing certain aspects of the work. Sometimes it's just about making a group chat, putting people in touch with each other. And also respecting our own boundaries and abilities and energy, because we don't want to get overwhelmed in the process of fundraising. So if anything becomes too overwhelming for us, we have to just say, sorry, I don't have the capacity to do this level of fundraising right now. Maybe I can reach out to see if someone else can at this time. So that's been definitely something that I've had to learn, is how to be able to say like, okay, there's too much being asked of me beyond what I have the capacity to do, but I still want to be able to help. So that's part of why I'm doing this webinar actually, is so that I can show all the things that I've learned in this process and hopefully inspire more people to take on some of this fundraising. And yeah, those three examples I just gave are in Africa, but I've also done fundraising for the Dene Navajo, which was the Native American tribe that was most negatively impacted by COVID. And so my friend Satish put on an online concert and asked me to co-produce it with him. We had Parangi and a bunch of other amazing artists, and we raised $5,000 through that and had someone match it. So that was $10,000 for the Dene, and Parangi actually went and got supplies and food and went in person to the Dene because he has a personal relationship with them, and delivered all the supplies. So that was amazing. And then also the Shipibo and the Yawanawa and Hunikuan, I sell a lot of their beadwork and ape medicine and things like that. And so that's kind of an ongoing support. Whenever I sell anything that they make, I send back 50% and it supports them. And that's more than they would be making just selling it themselves anyways. And so it's just all these networks of support to support those in need. And one of the ways that I see a personal drive to want to do this is all these people that I'm supporting. First of all, they're reaching out to me for support, expressing that they need help and that they need funds for various things. And I'm in a position where I have a big network. I know a lot of people. And even if I don't necessarily have a ton of funds myself, I know a lot of people, and different people have extra funds that they may not need that for themselves, that they'd be happy to donate to other people. So when we reach out into our network, it becomes really exponential, the possibilities of how we can help and support. And for me, it's also a way of leveraging my privilege. I acknowledge that I'm like a white cis male that grew up with all my needs, with food in my fridge, with a mom and dad. I just have a lot of things that maybe other people in the world don't have. So by leveraging that privilege, I can just reach out to my community and all the people that I've met in my life and be able to leverage the privilege of where I am in the world and the connections I have to be able to support those that are in need and don't have as much and don't have those kinds of connections. So it also feels like a good, just a good service to the world of doing this, but it's also important to me to find ways to be able to help in a way that's not like a white savior complex. So I try my best not to step in and say like, I'm gonna save the day and I have all the solutions, and that's not true, because like there's always gonna be more challenges, more issues coming up, but I can at least help to the extent that I'm able to. And a little goes a long way. So even the little bit of fundraising that I've done, I've seen the massive impacts that it's had on these communities, especially with the water and the food. Being able to get these communities food and water resilient is just really, really amazing and inspiring to see, because it's not just me that's stepping in to help. They're also doing a big part of the work. I'm sending the funds, but then they're using those funds to set up the water systems, to grow the food, to put the kids into school, make sure everyone's healthy. And so it feels like a collaboration. It's not like I'm coming in to save the day. It's more like we're working together to help those in need. So that feels really good, and it's what inspires me to keep doing it. And it has been effective doing a lot of this on my own. But it would be even more effective to do it with more people. And I have gotten some support from other people taking on different aspects of fundraising, like my friend Tony Moss has done a lot of fundraising for the community in Kenya with Prince Sebe Muloba. And there's a guy in Mississippi that, or not Mississippi, in Missouri. There's a guy in Missouri that I got connected to because he was also doing fundraising for the community in Kenya. So we've been working together. Like anytime I have trouble sending funds, I just send the funds to him, and then he sends the funds and things like that. Because with international funds, a lot of times they'll automatically think that it's a fraud or a scam. So you have to jump through some hoops or like get on the phone with someone to actually make the funds go through sometimes. And a lot of times, I've used like World Remit and Western Union and TransferWise. With World Remit especially, if the fund doesn't go through, they won't tell you why, and they'll just block your account, and it's really frustrating. So I'm gonna go into all of that and how I navigate through all of that soon. But first, I'm just gonna share my screen really quick and go to the fundraising campaign. Let's see. So here's my screen. This is also on Facebook Live. So those who are watching on Facebook Live, if you're checking this out, I have the link to the Zoom in the description. So just click that, and that's how you'll be able to see my screen. So let's see. Here it is. So view fundraiser. So GoFundMe, I really like because it doesn't, if you're doing a charity fundraising, it doesn't take any fees. You can fundraise on Facebook, and the benefit of that is because of the algorithm of Facebook, a lot more people are going to see it. Facebook basically favors anything that's on its own platform. So it's hard on Facebook nowadays to post a link to anything. What you usually have to do, what I do is I just post a picture or a video and a description, and then I'll post the link in the comments, and then anyone that comments that they're interested in donating, I'll send them the link. Because if you just send a link, if you just post a link on Facebook, Facebook isn't gonna show that many people unless you make it a paid ad, and you don't really want to be putting money into a paid ad for something that you don't have a budget for, that you're just doing fundraising for. So so if you are going to do GoFundMe, I suggest just like taking a picture like this one putting it on your post and putting the description, and then in the comments and in private messages to people send the link. But again, also Facebook now has a fundraising feature. You can just go to Facebook fundraising and start a campaign that way. And then it's really easy to invite people to it. But anyways, this campaign isn't that active. I had a campaign before that ended, so I started this new one. And this is essentially just a landing page for people that want to use GoFundMe. But I honestly have mostly just used PayPal and Venmo. But mostly PayPal. If someone wants to donate, I just tell them, send it to me on PayPal. That will be the most direct. And then as soon as a handful of people donate, then I'll send that chunk to where it's going. GoFundMe just makes it more official looking. So if you have like a bigger fundraising organization, or like someone that maybe wants to make a bigger donation and wants it to feel more official, then you can send them the GoFundMe. But if you are going to really do a crowdfunding campaign like this, the way I've been doing it is really just like ongoing. Whenever people want to send funds, they can send it to me, and then I send it to whoever it's being fundraised for. But if you do want to do a campaign, there is a benefit of it because it has that like lifespan, which gets people excited. So there's the amount you're trying to raise by a certain amount of time. And if you're going to do that, you do have to make sure that you're going to have the time to dedicate like every day, or at least like several days a week, to posting it. And one of the biggest things I've learned with crowdfunding campaigns is the first 3 days are the most important, and the last 3 days are the most important. So the first 3 days, everyone gets really excited. They want to donate. They want to help make this thing happen. And then there's usually almost always a bit of a lull in between. And then at the end, there's donations that will come in throughout the rest of the time. But then at the end, the last 3 days, everyone, there's that sense of urgency of, oh, the campaign's about to end. We only have 3 days left. And you can even make little graphics that say like 3 days left for the campaign to end. And a lot more donations will come in at the last 3 days. So
hey, Robin.
Yeah.
Your your screen's not actually showing.
Oh, let me go back. Let's see. Oh, I see. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, how's that?
Perfect. We can see it now.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong screen share. So yeah, this is a GoFundMe I made. Again, this is the one that was more active. It was inactive for too long, so it closed. So I just made this new one just as a page for if anyone wants to donate through GoFundMe, but I've mostly been having people donate through PayPal. So we have like a little video here, and it's literally just videos that have been sent to me through WhatsApp by the community. They're showing this fence they put around the garden so that the animals don't keep eating their food. Yeah, and I have a bunch of different video clips and pictures. And if I really wanted to make this campaign fully activated, I would post a lot more pictures and descriptions, and like actually post like, these are the things that they're wanting to fundraise for. This is how much they need for each thing. And I'd really give a clear, I mean, I do that a little bit in here, saying what the fundraising is needed for. But this campaign could definitely be a lot more fleshed out. But again, I've been finding the most success literally by just posting on Facebook a picture or a video with a description, usually an update. These communities are very responsive. So especially Prince Sabi Maloba in Kenya, he'll send messages of like, thanks so much. This is what's happening now because of the funds that you've sent us. And this is what we need still. And they'll just give a really nice update like that. So then I can post that. And at the beginning, I'll usually post like, I'm fundraising again for the permaculture projects and water projects in Kenya, and they need more funds for like tools, wheelbarrows, seeds, whatever it is that they say they need. And then I'll post the quote from them because it's nice for people to see like the direct quote of what they're saying. And I'll post the pictures and videos. And a lot of times people will ask for the crowdfunding campaign, and I'll post this link, but I'll also say, or you can just PayPal me at this address, and then I'll be able to send it to them directly. And so then when it comes to the time to send funds, what I do, I used to do World Remit, and I was doing that until it closed me out of the account. And it doesn't say why. If I were to go in and really read like all their requirements and like I could probably figure out why, but most of the time it's just because whenever you send funds to Africa, they have like an automatic alert that makes them unsure. It kind of warns them because there is a lot of scams and things like that that happen. So then I was doing TransferWise, but that only works if you have the person's bank account. A lot of times they don't have a bank account in these places. And then recently I started using Western Union, and that's been working great. Although I did have to get on the phone with someone for a really long time, asking me all these questions to verify. And then finally, once I kept saying like, yes, I trust this person. Yes, I did mean to send these funds. Yes, I know that there are scams that happen, and just like saying yes to all their questions. Then finally they were able to send the funds. And Western Union has an online feature which you can use if you have an address and a phone number that, and the person with the phone number has mobile bank deposit feature. I recently sent some funds to Peru, and they didn't have an address or phone number or mobile feature. So I just had to go to the Western Union in person, and then they can go to any Western Union in Peru and pick it up. So there's always a way to do it, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But usually it's not that big of a process to send the funds. So yeah, really what it comes down to for me is just making posts every once in a while on Facebook. And oh, it looks like my Facebook Live has ended. That is weird. Let me just start it up again so that people can see what's going on. Yeah, does anyone have any questions so far? I know it's been a lot of information all at once.
Yeah, I think I have a question.
All right.
Thanks so much. So, yeah, it sounds like so we moved through talking about how to kind of advertise it. I heard you say that the first 3 days and the last 3 days tend to be where people notice and are more engaged with the fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I guess my question is, if you could go more into detail on, um, like, do you ever see receipts, or is it just like, so they put the fence around as one example, and then
Mm-hmm.
David was in school as another example, so it kind of shows for itself. But um I guess I'm not quite sure how to word the question. Like, I guess I'm not sure, like, when a fund is like, let's say it's like $2,000 for a
Mm-hmm.
medical expense,
Yeah.
like how to like know. I guess it's about trust, right? You have to like be
Mm-hmm.
able to trust this person.
Yeah, it's really about establishing trust. And I mean, you're right. It would be even better to be asking, like, can I see the receipts for the medical expenses? Every time I've asked to see the doctor's letter. And so when I raised $100 for Biakwaso, who had typhoid, he sent me the doctor's letter, basically like saying that he had typhoid and he needed treatment. And then same with David, when he had malaria and typhoid, I asked him to send the doctor's letter. And in both instances, I just told them like, it's gonna help people fundraise because they'll trust that this is actually what's going on. So I do ask for those proofs of what's going on. I think you bring up a really good point. I could also ask for receipts for when people are buying supplies and things like that. I haven't actually been to Uganda, so I don't even know if they do receipts there, but yeah, the more proof, the better. And again, like linking up with people that are maybe there in person doing charity work and talking with them is a really good idea. But in the instance with this permaculture for sustainable communities in Kenya, they're just constantly sending pictures of them working in the garden, growing food with these signs saying thank you. And so I know it's like an up-to-date picture. It's not like something that they have from the past, because it's like they're constantly making these new videos with signs thanking everyone for supporting them. And so yeah, I made this website also. And again, like I don't know how many people even go to this website, but it's important to just have as a landing page so it makes it more official. Because I'm not operating as a nonprofit, if I were to be working as a nonprofit, then of course I'd have like a website and all the things. And but what I do have is a friend who has a nonprofit called Empowerment Works. So a couple times people have wanted to donate larger amounts, like a couple $1,000s at a time for this project in Kenya. And they wanted it to go through a nonprofit. So what I did was I teamed up with my friend's nonprofit Empowerment Works. They received the funds. That means the person that donated gets the funds to be tax deductible. So that benefits them for when they do taxes. And then the funds just get sent to me and I send it to the people that I'm sending it to in Africa. So yeah, going through a nonprofit, the real benefit of that is the tax deductible aspect of it. And it also makes it feel more official. So that's definitely, if I were to do that more often, they would actually want me to become an official branch of them. Since I've only done it a couple times, they're fine just kind of doing it under the table. But if it was to be an ongoing thing, we would have to make it a little more official. But for now, I mean, if I had more time, I would of course like do everything as official as possible. But because this is just like something I'm doing to support as much as I can with the time that I do have, I'm just having people send me funds and then I send it directly to them. So yeah, that's pretty much the main things that I've learned. And also a big part of it for me is just being really genuine and authentic and telling people like, this is a situation. I'm supporting them with getting funds for these things that they've expressed that they need. And like this amount of money will help get them water. This amount will help get them seeds and tools for starting a garden. This amount will help the kids go to school, things like that. And then people start donating and I start sending the funds. And it would be really nice to have a team of people doing it, like one person in charge of the funds, receiving and sending them, one person in charge of the social media posts. Of course, everyone doing posts every once in a while, but one person like really being the lead on that. Maybe one person in charge of the website and one person in charge of like potential sponsorship opportunities and outreach. So yeah, I mean, I've done all of this on my own, made this website, made the Facebook page, made the Gofundme and done all the posts and fundraising. And of course, it's not just been me because I've also been getting the support of all the people that donate. And then when I send the funds, they do all the work on their end of it. But in terms of the creating of the fundraising aspect, a lot of it's just been me. So I'm definitely calling in people to work with, but I'm also wanting to just inspire people to be doing this work on their own too, which is why I'm wanting to teach it more. And for anyone that watches this later, to feel free to reach out to me with any questions, or we can even just do a call sometime if you want to just discuss things. And yeah, all of this that I've shared so far applies to personal fundraising projects. It applies to any other fundraising effort that you want to fundraise for. And like I said, I've done this for communities in Africa, in Central and South America, in North America. So yeah, really to summarize everything that I've just said, really the nugget of it is make a post that if you were to see it, you would be drawn in and want to support and be intrigued by the project and what's going on. It definitely inspires people to see like communities that are becoming self-resilient because of the funds coming in, but also because they know what to do with those funds. So this community in Kenya, like Prince Sebe Maloba goes to the permaculture convergences and he studies permaculture and he knows how to do organic, regenerative farming and gardening. So he has the skills, he just needed the funds to get things going. And so to be able to have that kind of teamwork is amazing because like I'm just getting the funds to them and then he's doing all the work with his community there. So yeah, the nugget is really just making the posts, keeping the communication with the people. They'll probably be sending a lot of messages. I get a message almost every day from, for a while from Prince Sebe Maloba, but now he has more people supporting him. So he's not messaging as often, but I'm getting messages every day from David and from Yakwaso. And I do have to say sometimes that I'm too busy to be able to fundraise at the moment. Which is true because sometimes I just like literally don't have the time. But sometimes really serious things come up, like if it's typhoid or malaria. And also right now Uganda's under lockdown or partial lockdown. So a lot of them can't go places. And David, his school is canceled for the next like 40 days or something because of the lockdown. So he's not entirely sure what he's going to do about food and things like that while he's not at school. So there are urgent things that come up, and we just do the best we can with the time and capacity we have. But sometimes it's literally as simple as making a post. Like when David had the typhoid and malaria, I actually just sent him the $100 first because I knew he needed that urgently for the medical bill. But then I made a post, and then within 3 minutes, someone had sent me $100 to cover that. So, so yeah, just being able. Another thing too is the more that I make these posts, the more people kind of become familiar with the people that I'm fundraising for. So then they start building some sort of like rapport and relationship with the people that's being raised for. And even if they're not jumping in to do fundraising, they'll see these posts, they'll start caring about the people, and they'll want to donate whenever they can. So, so yeah, that's really all I have to share in terms of logistical things. And if anyone has any questions, if either of you, Lindsay or Fauna, have any questions or ideas or inspirations, we can kind of just get into a discussion at this point. And Lindsay, I see your comment that you'd love to help with managing and being a part of any fundraising. So that's great. What I think I might actually do is make a group chat, whether it's on WhatsApp or here on Facebook, whatever's better for everyone. And then we can all just kind of discuss what's going on, what's needed, who needs support, and what can be done. And again, it's like if we all do just a little bit, if we have a team of even like 5 people and we're all just doing a little bit, then we can get a lot done with not that much effort. And I know my friend Samu just told me he's interested in helping out like that. So, and I think a couple other people that expressed interest that aren't on the call right now, but we'll watch the replay. We can all just kind of team up and make a group to see how we can help.
Yeah, thank you for, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Sorry if I was off mute the whole time, but
No,
yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for including me, and super interested. And yeah, I think that it would be cool to create more fundraisers and help with anything in regards to raising more money and just having like a group connection. I don't know if it's something I could do on my own yet, but I love everything that you've done and feel inspired.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it really is always better with a team, with like a group of people. So I really like the idea of making a little group and then if someone in the group is too busy, then there's other people that might be able to jump in, and people can kind of like take turns with different aspects of things. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll make a group, and then whenever fundraising is needed for things, I'll post it in there, and other people can post things that they're connected to that needs fundraising, and we can all kind of support each other's efforts like that and work together on things.
Sweet. Awesome. Beautiful. Thanks for making this video. I'll definitely be sharing it.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to mention too is that there is a lot of funding out there, and that takes a little bit more effort, but really not that much. There's like different organizations that have a lot of funds for things like that, and a lot of times they do need to see like proof of funds being used, and so that's those are the types of things where it's like the grassroots fundraising that I've been talking about, like that's important to happen first, and then you can kind of use that as evidence and apply for bigger funds from these different companies or organizations. Like there's one called Ideas, and they have a lot of funds for charity projects, and they just need to see that like there's been an ongoing trust relationship with the funds being used for what they said they've been used for and things like that. So
Yeah.
so that would really be the next step. Like that's beyond my current capacity to take on, but that would definitely be a good next step of being able to like team up with an organization that has more funding for things like this.
Cool.
Great. Well, I think that's good for now, unless either of you have any more questions or ideas or things you want to talk about.
I just want to say thank you, and yeah, just keep me in the loop about raising funds and for the fundraisers. Yeah, I also feel like having the communicate, because I feel like if we were a group, then the communication would be easier, perhaps with individuals and projects that are on the ground, and yeah, then we can like verify and work together through the group instead of like individual. But I'm totally excited to see like where we go with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a good place to start, and then we can see what emerges from that and what people get inspired and excited about within the group.
Sweet.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bloom, for being you and doing this fundraising and showing that like you can trust people and do great things.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's also definitely something, because like the more you fundraise, the more people are going to see that you're fundraising and start reaching out for funds. And so I have had to ignore a lot of messages and kind of just like take on what I have the capacity to take on. And yeah, it's definitely ideal to be able to fundraise for someone that like you have 100% certainty that you can trust. But in some of these occasions, I've had to just kind of like go with my gut on it and like have conversations with them and like see if like intuitively do I trust this person, and of course ask for certain things for proof of things. But yeah, if I were to send someone like a large amount of money, like hundreds of dollars or over $1,000 or something like that, I would definitely want to make sure there's like 100% trust and proof of funds being used for what they say they're going to be using it for. So that's also a nice thing about like starting small, like just sending a little bit and then kind of getting that proof that it's being used for the right thing, and then continuing to fundraise.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm definitely excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks both of you for being on the call. I appreciate it.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your evening.
Happy new moon.
Happy new moon.
Yeah. Happy solar eclipse.
Happy solar.
Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
portal.
Bye.
Bye.